Welcome to King Kong Palm! So today we're going to be talking about the importance of having a workout partner.
Right.
You know, safety is important. There's certain things you need to know in Sansao that you're going to get hit and you're going to have to learn how to relax and you're going to have to move and you're going to do this over and over and over again. So a couple of things in working with a partner is you are really their guardian in one sense, having to protect them. And it's going to sound crazy because you're going to be hitting them. You're going to be taking them down, throwing them, and all those different things. But the goal is to work out and not injure each other.
Right.
Right? So,
Right.
so one of the things I want to talk to you about in Sansao is really about learning how to set up your emotions. If you watch some of our other videos, we talk about this. And if I'm going to, don't do anything, Luis, if I'm going to hit him and he stands like this, it's not realistic to real street fighting because we as humans respond to pain, right? So if I were to break Luis's rib cage here, I'm not going to break it, don't worry. If I were to break his rib cage, then what's going to happen, he's going to respond. So just allow your body to relax and exhale. Right? So you see what happened? He responds to the motion, right? Now just allow your body to relax when you do it. So, and this is for the workout partner. If I hit him, then it's easier for me to now go into what I'm going to do. Now it gives me more of a realistic rhythm to the motion. So, you know, when you're hitting your partner, and you're going to do this over and over, your partner's going to do it to you, but you have to know what some people do, and chime in on this. This is where my pet peeve comes in. I think in understanding how to move the human anatomy, it's important to understand how to put your body in position. What some people do, they walk in, they go, and my issue with that is that what are you actually learning? Are you learning how the human body move? Are you learning in different areas of the anatomy?
Massage.
Yeah, it's massage. And so, and we're not dissing anybody, but the objective is I'm going really fast. You know, I may be doing this, I may be going, and Luis moves back, and all of a sudden, you know, the old scene from the movies, and all of a sudden, nothing really took place. Now I'm exhausted, now this person's like, you know? And at my age, you can't have that. So the best thing to do is to understand how the body works, and that's what's great for workout partners. A lot of people like hitting bags. I like hitting bags too, but I like my workout partner better than any bag because our purpose in Sansao is to help you in a street-oriented or battle situation. You're not going to get into a ring and do this style of fighting. You're just not. And that's great, but the objective is when I hit him, I want to know how the human anatomy moves. It tells me what I'm going to do.
In the old days, when we were young, we would get somebody who would be work out in Sansao, and there's certain ones who always think that they're really tough, so they don't move. When they don't move, I love it, because I'm not going to hit you hard, but don't move, right? I'm just going to do that. Now, if I hit him hard and he doesn't, what he's doing is pressing more into my punch, so it's going to hurt a lot more. So when we were young, when I encountered that, I'm like, he's not moving. We would just wailate with him. Of course, we didn't get sued or anything. But it was fun, you put it inside, but do move. When you get hit, liver, whatever. This organ, he will move. I hit him up, he's gonna go up, right? Do not resist or else feel the pain more.
And when you're working in Sansao, the objective is people are like, well, that's not realistic. No one moves like this and no one moves like that. But what you need to understand is once you start getting your rhythm and flow, he doesn't get the opportunity to make those bigger motions. So let me get you over here, Luis. So if I'm going to hit him, he doesn't get the opportunity to make those bigger motions because I'm attacking him at that point. Right? And that's what we're talking about. But in the beginning, and I don't mean this as disrespectful to anybody, if you don't do Sansao, you have to go slow and your partner because your partner is important to how well you develop, right? And if you're just going fast all the time, I don't truly think you're developing. I just think you're working on hand speed. But what happens if he's bigger? What happens if he's stronger? What happens if he's faster? And what happens if he's trained longer? Then what do you do?
Right.
You know, one of the things about Sansao is you're going to learn how to use smart tactics to win the fight, right? To survive the fight.
Exactly, and to learn that, it's very crucial for your partner to be really working with you closely.
And a lot of people don't like getting hit, but I don't think you can actually learn Sansao without getting hit.
No, you can't, because it's just like doing form on top of a mountain. Who are you fighting? You know, Kung Fu is not a singular art. if you want to learn any martial art, you need a partner. You
Yeah.
need somebody to beat. Practice with.
Right. And you need to know what that progressive resistance feels like. If I hit him, right, knowing what it feels like to go through the body. Because all of you guys work on basics. You have stances, you have punches and kicks and things like that. So you need to know what it feels like once you make contact. And Ron, one of the things that I found in our school here is a lot of people martial arts fall apart at contact.
Yes.
So if I'm doing that, that's cool. But if I have to do this, then that's a whole different concept, and they just are not familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people who have trained for a long time. So make sure that your art doesn't fall apart at contact. Find someone you like. You may have to buy them dinner later or lunch or whatever it is. But the objective is your guys are going to hit each other, not hard. You're not going to hurt each other, but you're just going to follow through.
Right.
Right?
And just as a little bit appendage, for the person who's being attacked or being hurt, if I do this, right, that's an appropriate reaction. If I do this, I didn't hit him, but he reacted correctly. It's that force and that power that your partner has to really work with you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Really work with you, and like what you said in your previous videos, repetition.
Right. The other thing too is if I'm following through, I now have an understanding of distancing.
Yes.
If I'm just here, then I don't. I don't have an understanding of distancing. If I'm in close, now some of you guys are going to say, well, but that's crazy to get that close to someone and fight. And here's what I always say to people. If he wants to kick my butt, he's going to come to me anyway. So I'm already there whether I want to be there or not. I might as well learn how to fight there. It is easier for me to fight way out here. Just much easier.
Unless you do the no-touch martial arts.
Ah, dun, 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 dun. I wish. But so if you're fighting, right, you have to know how to get close to someone. And if your style calls for you to be longer, that's cool, but also practice what happens if someone closes distance. I had a master one time tell me, he said he was training in art, which shall remain nameless. And he said their art was mainly on kicking, long kicks. And here's what he said. He goes, the only thing I did is I got close to them, I just stood like this. I just stood like this when they couldn't get their legs up. And he goes, they were frustrated the whole time with me. And I'm like, yeah. Did you know they could have done this to you? He goes, yeah, they didn't think of that. So in Sansao, you have to be able to have enough rehearsal effect, enough practice to understand that these things are going to happen. If I'm here and Luis close distance and I want to use my legs, I'm going to use my hands, right? But I have that with my workout partner. The other thing, as a workout partner, don't let your egos get ahead of your training. So if Luis throws me a punch, I may say, this is too fast. Can you slow it down? We know we're going to pick it up later, right? But what I don't want to do, and we have had this, and I know you had this when you had your school, I've had so many people, I just had this happen last week, where I taught a technique and I would go slow, start off slow, and the girl here threw a barreling fast punch, and the person punched her right in the nose. I'm like, oops. I go, see, that's why we start slow, because even if you train and you're not used to someone getting in close to you, you may start injuring your workout partner. You really, really do need them.
Now we're going to talk about you form maniacs out there. Now, a lot of times I walk into a workshop or something like that, and they're discussing this. At this point, no, it must be this high. No, it must be this high. No, don't discuss that. What happens is when you are actually doing your Sansao and your partner is going after you, if you do this and you shifted it and it hurts, guess what? It's wrong, right? So guess what? Sansao tests your form. Sansao tests how it reacts, how your punch will affect your partner. So without Sansao, your form is really, it needs dentures, right? It's completely toothless.
There's a lot of misinformation, I would think, that you just don't know if you're not testing the motions. If you test them in your form, that's fine. My suggestion is, start off slow and then have someone barrel a real punch at you. Because there's a lot of stuff that we won't talk about tonight But that happens when a person throws a real strike at you, and you have to stay true to the movement and form.
Right.
You know, do you have faith in that movement's going to work? I watch a lot of people do this, and I'm like, is that the move and form? You know, so you have to think about that. You know, I totally agree. I've watched people get into those conversations. I've seen it in stands too. In the full horse, is the full feet forward? Are they out to the side? And I'm like, you got to use the one that works for you. You know, you know, I'm built weird, so there's certain things that work for me that will work different for him, and you got to figure out what works for you.
Exactly.
Because if you start training and you start having more and more injuries because it doesn't fit you, like you were saying, if your arm is here and all of a sudden you start messing up your shoulder, or if your feet are straight and your knees are starting to go, then that becomes a problem over time. Then you get out into a street fight. Now you have a hard time using this stuff because, well, now you're injured now.
Right. And it will definitely, the Sansao training, the partner training really shows the weaknesses in your forms. So, and when it shows it, you're a little frustrated, but that's when your critical thought hopefully enables. So from there, work it out.
Yeah.
So, and then
What's up, guys? This is Luis, the SOV, son of the village. If you guys like what you see, like Head Con Palm, make sure you hit the subscribe and hit the bell.